Hey YouTube, thank you for all my subscribers that watch my videos on Ed's Gunsmithing YouTube channel. Today, this video, I'm going to talk about some of the hand loading tools, hand tools that I use. I have a little carrier because some of these tools I use by hand, some I use by a drill press. Some of them I use actually in my press itself for hand loading. I use a Lee traditional single stage right now. That's what these are for. So to start with, we'll start from one side and go to the other. These are little handles that you can thread standard things into, such as your cleaning brushes that you use in your firearms to clean the barrels. That's what these are for. There's a small one and a large one. I put an L and an S. And they're pretty easy to tell when you have them side by side. My CDO, my obsessive compulsive disorder, kicked in. I had to do that. These are two different reamers that are designed for what's called VLD, very low drag bullets in rifles. And what that does, this is a pistol case, but demonstrate, it goes into the case mouth and it reams it out. So there's a little ramp inside. It's not just blunt. And it helps when you seat the bullet so it doesn't just shear the lead off or the copper off, whatever you're using. I've got those in just two different lengths because one came in a kit that I bought, and the other one I bought separately because it was higher quality. Another thing similar to that, this is what comes in the Lee kit to do that by hand. I did a few that way before I bought those and started putting them in a drill press. That gets very tiring after a while. So that's that thing. And here's another one. This actually does the outside, called a deburr. On the other end inside this holder, it looks like this. I actually have two, just so I don't have to keep changing the tools all the time. One for, actually this is the one that if you saw my what is it answer part, where you go in and I cut off just a little bit of the military crimp, make it a little easier to put in the primers. And of course you always have to deburr the outside, otherwise when you come time to chamber it or actually loading it, it'll jam going up into the die and just screw things all up. And again, if you watched the video, here's the primer pocket uniformer. Allow you to get in there and make those primer pockets the same depth and same diameters for all your cases, whether it's a pistol, large or small, a small or large rifle, all different diameters and depths. When you have rifle cases, over time, the more you shoot them, they'll get longer and longer and longer because of the way they function in the rifles. So you have to cut them down. I have a few of these so I can cycle through and start with a small, and as I get to the larger mouths, they get updated from like the 223 to a 30 to a 45 to cut the cases down. And then by the time it gets to 45 and it's worn out, I can ship them off to Lee Precision Tools and they'll resharpen them for me. And the other part, I chuck these up in the drill press, and to set my stop in my drill press, I have these little lengths and I have them marked for the right depth for the right case. And this one said glare 30-30. I have one for a 30-30, one for a 7.62 by 54R, one for a 30-06, one for the 223 Remington, aka 5.56. They're the same length case, and so I can adjust my stop gauge on my drill press accordingly. So I don't have to use these things that are to be combined with the cutters. You put that on, you take the right size base, put it on a holder of some sort like this, put the case in there, turn it down in there, and that's your stop for the correct depth. Pain in the butt. I just use the drill press and use my stops. Tell me what I need to, where I need to stop. It's faster. And again, that little thing, that adapter can go into a drill or a screwdriver. so you can hold it, turn it a lot faster, have a bigger thing instead of getting your hands numb and cramped up. Then, let's see, the brushes, I use these all the time after cleaning and prepping the cases to go in there, clean the extra gunk out, the extra carbon that may be in there. Some people like to leave the carbon because it gives more slippage for the bolt to come out. Well, if you wind up having a brand new brass, you have no carbon in there. So if I have brand new brass, used brass, they're all the same. They're all consistent. When it comes to hand loading, it's all about consistency. Do this step, that step, exactly that. Again, if you have CDO, you know what I mean. Compulsive disorder. You're set for it. With my, I don't have it out here, but with my powder measurer, there's a little knob you can turn. I just made this up out of a 3/8 extension that you can put in a drill. Put a little knurled piece on there so I can adjust it with a much bigger knob. Maybe I'm getting old. I have strong hands, but I just hate having to hold that little thing and turn it. I'm whining now, but you get my ideas. Versus something 4 times the diameter, way easier to get a hold of. Easier to make fine tuning. Here's some of the old tools I don't use anymore. This is another carbon scraper for the inside of the primer pockets. Here's another one. I love these. I use these all the time before I got the uniformers. These go in. They have little, well, I don't know what you'd say. They're serrated to get in and take the primer, the carbon out of the primer pocket. That one's actually getting quite worn out. That's how much I used it. They're nice. And before I got the primer pocket uniformer, I had these little things for small and large primer pockets to get rid of the military crimp. I still use these when I have a really tough military crimp. I'll use these first. If I have a huge batch even, I'll get most of it out with these, and then I'll go back with the uniformers, pocket uniformers, and get them finished up and standardized.